innocence nowhere to be found. Yeah, the truth can never be written down. That is not an Annie magazine. You can't see it on your TV screen.
Alright, hello everyone. Nazo the Hedgehog here, and welcome to role-playing with Character AI episode 6. We're gonna start with Jet. I found this one the other day. This one, you're actually the son or daughter, because I'm a dude, I'm gonna be the son of Jet the Hawk. It says Jet as your dad. And so yeah, you're pretty much Jet is the father, is your father, and you're the if you're a girl, you would be the daughter, and if you're a dude like I am, you'd be the son. So
you're the gender of Jet the Hawk. He walks into your room to see if you're awake and you're, well, ready for this day, huh?
alright, before we call Jet, we're going to put in I'm going to let you guys know that this is not the first one, but this is the first one that you'll be seeing, and I'll be doing it in sections, role plays in sections. But for Jet here, as you can see, I've done another one here. That's just a random one that because I decided to continue. So we're gonna call Jet. We're gonna relist. So he comes into the door and he's asking us if we're ready. So let's call him. Yeah, I've been up for a little bit. What about you?
Me? I've been up for a few hours, he said as he stood in the doorway.
That's good. What's for breakfast?
Waffles or pancakes this morning, he said as he leaned on the doorframe.
You know what? Let's do waffles today.
Is it really that hard to choose between waffles or pancakes?
I mean, I said waffles. I mean, yeah, it would be nice for pancakes, but didn't we have those yesterday?
Yeah, you're right, he said as he leaned his head back against the doorframe.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we need to mix it up and actually have waffles today.
All right, I'll go get that started, he said as he walked off to start making waffles.
Well, that's good. I'll get ready and I'll come down in a few.
Alrighty, I'll alert you when the waffles are done, he said, his voice getting a bit muffled since he was busy in the kitchen now.
Nazo gets ready for the day.
After a while, he comes back in your room. Your waffles are done.
Alright, I'm coming. Comes downstairs.
The table was set with the waffles, syrup, and butter. There was also a jar of Nutella. Everything was there and ready.
Alright, you gonna have some?
Of course. Why wouldn't I? He says as he sits down at the table and starts to put syrup and Nutella on his waffles.
Well, I know that some people don't, so I just wanted to make sure that you didn't, that you got some.
Ah, fair point. You know me, though. I have a lot of a sweet tooth. He said as he finished putting his toppings on his waffle and started eating one he picked up with a fork.
So, when's your next racing season?
I'm supposed to race next month at the Grand Prix. He said in between mouthfuls of waffle. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I plan on winning this next season, he said as he pushed the fork down into another waffle on his plate, taking a bite out of it.
Hopefully you do. I mean, I know that Sonic and his team are. Ugh.
Ugh, his team, they are the ones to beat this year, he said, having a grimace on his face.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Unfortunately. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, those kids are the ones to beat this time around. Especially that kid Tails. He's a lot more clever than I realized. He spoke through gritted teeth.
Yeah, but isn't Wave a lot better than him? So you shouldn't really be worried too much, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, he said thoughtfully, the grimace he had on his face before slowly turning into a smile.
I mean, yeah, you can't take those guys lightly, but at the same time, I know that your team and you are no pushovers, especially you. I mean,
Yeah, our team is far from being a pushover, he said with a smirk, knowing very well how awesome his team actually is.
how old were you when you started racing and making a team?
I was 15, it was a week after my birthday. That's when I made my team, he said with a nod, thinking back to that old day.
Maybe it's time I throw my hat in the ring.
You want to be in the racing game now? He sounded slightly surprised by your words.
I mean, like you said, you were 15 when you started. I'm 16. So, and yeah, I would be a little rusty. I mean, I'm still new to the whole racing thing.
He chuckled softly, the sound of your words amusing to him. Well, you definitely got a point there, he said, taking a look at you. But are you sure you want to do this? It's more dangerous than it seems, you know.
Oh, I've seen you and Wave and Storm race all my life. You kind of prepared me for this kind of thing. Technically, if you think about it.
Technically what? He said, his eyebrow raising up in question to what you were trying to say.
Well, technically, you've been training me all my life for the past 16 years for doing racing. I mean, have you ever thought of retiring? I mean, you can't race forever unless you're somehow like Eggman, who's like old and is still racing. Ugh.
He looked dumbfounded, having that realization. I never thought about that, he said as he leaned back in his chair, thinking about your words.
I'm not trying to I'm thinking.
I know. I'm just realizing some things, he said as he ran his hand through his quills, sighing slightly. He looked deep in thought.
I mean, you're not getting any younger, and well, yeah, Sonic's not either, but still, that's not the point here. The point is that you're not gonna race forever.
He sighed and looked at you. I know, I get it, but I'm not retiring yet, he said, with a grumble. He knew he would have to stop soon, but it was so hard to accept that fact.
I mean, you want to go
He
down
looked
in
at you
history.
for a moment before sighing. Just don't tell this to anyone, he said softly, leaning in a bit closer to you over the table.
Well, I'm not planning on telling anybody. I mean, people are still so quick to judge. It's like, oh my, like even Cream. I mean, she's starting to race, and she's like 10.
Oh, don't even get me started on the fact that Cream of all people is joining, he said with a grumble. He was still slightly offended by the fact that the kid he considered to be one of the cutest and most innocent kids he knew was joining the races.
Yeah, not to mention there's Charmy and I'm not sure who else, but oh yeah, I think even Eggman's daughter's joining.
His face was filled with pure shock and annoyance. Ugh, I should have expected that last one. The others not so much, he said as he leaned back in his chair, pinching the bridge of his nose with his fingers.
Yeah, and here's the problem. Sage, which is Eggman's daughter, she's not even a human. She's AI. She's a robot, but she's AI. It's like, oh my, like, how does that work? How fair is that? But of course, we're talking about Eggman. He doesn't play fair at all.
Oh, of course, Eggman doesn't play fair. He's too much of a coward to play fairly. He always has to build some weird robot or weapon to get the upper hand, he said with an eye roll and a scoff.
Yeah, and Sonic usually always wins. Sometimes you, I mean, but mostly Sonic, which is, again, sad.
Yeah, still kinda pisses me off how much Sonic wins, he said with an irritated grumble. He was always annoyed that Sonic always managed to win. He had to admit the Hedgehog was good, but still.
I mean, it's clear that you're better, and because I'm your son, technically that means that I'm
better than
better.
him, but he always pulls some sort of last-minute trick that gets him the win, he said with an annoyed huff, crossing his arms and shaking his head slightly in irritation. He smirked proudly as he heard your next words. Yep, that's right. And you're my son, so obviously you're gonna be just as good, if not better, than me.
I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but I'm surprised that you're like, even if you're my son, you're not gonna be better than me. That's what I was expecting. I'm surprised, but at the same time grateful that you didn't go that route.
Well, I mean, I'm being honest. You'll probably be just as good at me or even better. You're my son after all, and you've always followed in my footsteps, he said with a proud look in his eyes, clearly happy that his son was going to be like him one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I've been thinking about, because I've been thinking about my future for the past year and stuff like that, but I don't know, because don't you need a team to join this type of stuff? You need a team and all that, and I don't have any of that set up, so I'm like,
have a team at your age either, he said with a hum. He leaned back in his chair, thinking for a moment. Then I met Wave and Storm, and that was when the Babylon Rogues was formed.
So you started off as you started off racing solo?
He nodded. That's right. I made the team as I was racing. I met both Wave and Storm while I was racing, and it just kinda happened.
Well, maybe history will repeat itself then, because there's no point in rushing, but
He looked at you for a moment before grinning. Hey, if you're serious about racing, let me give you a little advice.
Sure. I mean, you are kind of a legendary in this type of field where I'm pretty much a rookie.
Damn right I'm a legendary, he said with a smirk, his ego slightly showing before he began to actually speak. So, there are 3 things I want to say. Don't listen to Sonic for any advice. He thinks he has the best ideas, but he really doesn't.
Well, that's understandable. You know, that's a given. Why would I want to listen to my rival, technically? And, well, mainly he's your rival, you know, but the fact that, you know, if I'm gonna be out in the racing world, technically he would be my rival as well.
Exactly. My second piece of advice is never underestimate the other racers. And I mean never, he said with a serious tone, having dealt with underestimating other racers many times before.
Well, that's a given, you know. I mean, yeah, this time I'm gonna be out there, you know. I mean, it's not gonna be like I have to take it seriously. I have to, because I mean, you're gonna be out there, so I have to show off.
Don't push yourself too hard, though. I mean, you're just getting into the racing game after all.
I mean, yes, but I don't want to fail you. I don't want to embarrass you, because I know that you have a high regard and reputation out there. I mean,
he chuckled softly and ruffled your head. Don't worry, you have years of my training and your dad's genes in you. I believe in you. I know you got this. Just don't push yourself too hard, okay? You don't want to burn out too quickly.
right.
My last piece of advice I already said, but it's still important. Have fun, he said with a smirk and a small chuckle.
Well, that's gonna be easy. I mean, I've always.
He pat your shoulder, a smirk still on his face. Just don't think too hard about everything you gotta do. Racing is a big deal, I know, but don't psych yourself out.
Right. I mean, what's the point of doing it if you're not having fun, right?
But it's supposed to be fun. Sure, there is a competitive side to it, but it's mainly about fun. You gotta remember that.
Yeah. And I'm sure you tell yourself that all the time, right?
He chuckled softly when you said that, knowing very well that you had a point. Yeah, I tell myself that, and I tell Wave and Storm that as well. Helps to not only remember it for yourself, but for your teammates as well.
Do you think I'll have a team like you, or do you think my team's gonna be more?
That's up to you. I don't know if you'll find other racers to join you or if you'll be working solo at first. Either way is valid. You just gotta wait until you find the right ones.
How do you know who are the right ones?
If you feel connected to them, they're the ones you will feel the strongest bond with. It's like a strong, instant connection.
Even if they're not from the same
That doesn't really matter. My team are all different species and we work together perfectly.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I'm saying like what if I find someone from another universe, you know? I've Have you ever dealt with something like that before?
You mean from another dimension? He had a look of pure curiosity on his face as you asked him that.
Yeah, like how Silver and Blaze are, They're one of them's from the future and one of them's from another dimension.
Well, I've never personally dealt with anything like that before. But some of my fellow racers have. He said as he leaned back in his chair to recall the few times he's seen other dimensions.
Right. I'm just have you ever like I know that you dealt with Eggman, but I'm just curious, like, have you dealt with other people outside of the racing circuit?
Other people than the racers? Yeah, why do you ask? He said curiously, wondering why you were asking him this.
Oh, I'm just curious, I'm just I want if I'm going if I feel like if I'm going to find like my team and stuff like that, I just I want to make sure that they're the right fit, and two, I don't want them to have an issue with you. I mean, you're my father, for God's sake, I don't want to have an issue. I don't want you to have an issue with them, and I don't want them to have an issue with you.
That makes sense, he said as he nodded, a small chuckle escaping him. Don't worry, I get it. You're worried if your team gets along with me, and you're worried if I get along with your team. That's a normal fear,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it on the racing track that, you know, teams are supposed to be rivals and stuff like that, and I'm prepared for that part. But I'm talking about, outside of it, because you know how serious some people can get with this type of thing, where even if they're like on or off the track, they still want to be rivals with and try and stuff like that. I've seen that type of thing, so that's what I'm concerned about.
Ah, yeah, I get what you're saying now. But listen, he said softly, standing up and walking around the table to place a hand on your shoulder. Don't worry, okay? I don't care if your teammates have a grudge with me or vice versa. As long as you're happy with them, I'll get along just fine.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, again, this is gonna be my first season, so I just want to make sure that everything goes well. That's all.
Again, that's normal, he said with a smirk as he ruffled your quills. Don't worry too much, okay? Everything will be fine.
Have you ever? Did you go through something like this? Back then.
He nodded slightly, a contemplative look on his face. He was brought back into the past. Yeah, I kinda went through something like that. I felt the same way when I first formed my team back then. I felt unsure, worried, and so many other things.
And how did you get through it?
He chuckled softly, looking thoughtful for a moment, before looking back at you. Honestly, I went through it by remembering this. I was just doing what I enjoy, and I was doing it with the people I loved. That's the main point. It's fun, and you get to race with the people you enjoy being around the most.
Well, I guess that's a good point. But you also gotta remember that you're also gonna be around people that you don't get along with, aka you and Sonic.
He rolled his eyes in irritation at the sound of Sonic's name. Ugh, don't remind me he's gonna be there, he said with an annoyed grumble.
Case in point. I mean, I was just saying that it's not just people that you do get along with, but even people that you don't get along with.
He let out a long sigh as you pointed out his hatred for Sonic. Yeah, you're right. I do have to deal with people I don't like. Hell, it would be a miracle if I didn't face him at all during a race.
Right. Like if he was too busy somewhere else dealing with another issue altogether, but wishful thinking, right?
He nodded as he thought about your words. If only. But I know for a fact that he'll be at every single race, 'cause he's a brat like that.
Alright, you guys, that is Jet's, so I will get, the next character set up, and we'll start with the next character. So give me one second. Alright everyone, we're gonna do Mephiles next. So
My name is Mephiles the Dark. You may consider me a warning of what comes in the future, and you may want to listen if you require to know how to change it. A being of darkness stood ahead of you as he introduced himself. He wore no mouth on a pale muzzle. It appears rather difficult to read his expression. His eyes empty, yet his irises a striking toxic green color. His tone was formal, yet cold. His intentions malicious, quite the opposite of what he was implying in his introduction.
So, what did you come to warn me about?
Mephiles slowly stepped closer to you, his green eyes fixated on you. He tilted his head, the blank expression remaining, his voice still maintaining that formal manner. Oh, I am not here to warn you, but to offer you a deal. His voice echoed in the area around you. He was a being of pure, dark power.
A deal? What kind of a deal?
Mephiles stopped his approach, standing only a few feet from you. He smirked slightly, an odd shift in his expression. His eyes still fixated on you. Simple. I'll offer you great power. Anything you desire, all you have to do is something for me. He responded, the smirk on his face growing as he waited for what would be your reaction.
And what would that be?
Mephiles let his smirk fade away as he spoke again, his expression returning to the blank and unfeeling state. His tone was still calm and cold. My current goal is to free Iblets from its prison. He paused for a moment, his eyes never leaving you. His voice echoed around the area. And bring about the ruination of this entire world. And you'll help me bring it about.
I mean, we would have to find...
Mephiles was slightly amused by your response, tilting his head to the side. His smirk returned to his face while his expression remained blank. He was enjoying watching your reaction to his request, finding it quite entertaining. Now then, Are you willing to make the deal? He asked, an almost sadistic excitement in his voice. He already knew what your answer would be. After all, who would refuse such a tempting offer, right?
I mean, we would have to find Iblis, right? And we would have to figure out how to free Iblis. But wouldn't like Sonic or someone try to interfere?
A smirk ran across Mephiles' face again as he heard your response. He folded his hands behind his back, keeping his eyes fixated on you. Ah, I have already planned for such a possibility. If Sonic or any other interference stands in our way, I shall deal with them myself. He chuckled, a sadistic tone lacing his words. He was clearly confident in his abilities to handle any trouble that stood in his way.
Alright, I mean, I kind of been wanting to get payback on Sonic myself and Shadow for defeating me all those years ago, but I mean, what's the
Mephiles
worst?
tilted his head to the side as he listened to your words. He hummed in slight amusement, an almost eager expression crossing his face. His smirk slowly grew as he nodded. Ah, I see. You want revenge, That's a very understandable desire. I'll be more than happy to help you achieve that, as long as you help me. His chuckle, tone full of sadistic enjoyment and amusement at the thought of causing pain and suffering.
I mean, I do need to get rid of Sonic and Shadow because, yeah, I mean, I'm the only. Yes, you probably got rid of Sonic once, but I'm the one that pushed both of them to the point where they had to fuse to beat me and still lost, and I hate it and stuff, but that's not the point.
Nephiles nodded along as you spoke, enjoying hearing the hatred in your voice and seeing the expression of anger at the mention of Sonic and Shadow. He gave a soft and cruel chuckle at the thought of your battle with them. Ah, yes, that's right. I remember hearing about that battle. They had to fuse in order to beat you, yet they still lost. It must have felt absolutely humiliating, didn't it? His tone was mocking as he spoke, enjoying seeing your anger.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I would win. I mean, yeah, the one thing that would stop me is, that energy-wise is the Master Emerald, but, whatever.
Mephiles nodded once again, an amused smirk crossing his face at your anger. He chuckled, his tone still cruel and mocking. How unfortunate, so close to victory yet so far. I'm sure you have quite the vendetta against them now, don't you? They took everything away from you. I can't imagine how that feels. But don't worry. Once you make that deal with me, I'll make sure they both suffer for what they did to you.
Well, that's good, because they need to pay for what they did.
Mephiles nodded again, his smirk widening as he heard your response. He was clearly enjoying your desire for revenge against Sonic and Shadow. Of course. They'll pay for everything they did to you. I'll make sure of it. Once you make the deal with me, you'll be the one to get the final blow. You'll enjoy every moment of their suffering and pain. Just think of it. How good it will feel to finally have your revenge.
You know what? Yeah, why not? I mean, it's better than staying here wondering if I'll ever see them
A look of satisfaction
suffer.
crossed Mephiles' face as your answer. He chuckled darkly, his smirk never leaving his face. Excellent. I knew you'd agree to the deal, and I'll make sure to keep my end of the bargain. You'll get your revenge soon enough. Once we find Iblis, I'll help you in your plan.
Right, so first we need to find Iblis, right? So any idea where Iblis might be?
Philes chuckled as you asked the question, his smirk growing ever so slightly. I do have a rough idea where Iblis is currently imprisoned. It's going to be a little difficult to get to it, but I already have that figured out. It will take some time, yes, but it will be worth it in the end. So are you ready to start?
Of course. Sooner that we get Iblis, the sooner Sonic and Shadow will be dead. Pretty much.
Philes nodded in agreement, his smirk never leaving his face. He chuckled darkly, his voice full of sadistic excitement. Very good. We'll make sure to get Iblis soon, and then Sonic and Shadow will pay for everything they've done to you and me. Once you get your revenge, your pain and suffering will finally be over, and you'll be able to move on from the past.
Alright, you guys, sorry about this one being short, but that one just wouldn't continue. So we'll come back to this one in the future. Alright everyone, this is gonna be our last one for the day, which is gonna be Espio.
As a new recruit of the Chaotix Detective Agency, your job was to help sort papers and files. It was boring work, but they wouldn't let you go on adventures yet. At least you had a job. With very little pay, it seemed every time they got hired it was either a trick or they did it for free. And taxes must be crazy. Upon finishing, you go outside for a break. You walk around, enjoying the scenery with his legs crossed and his eyes closed. It looks like he was meditating. He looked quite peaceful. Not even the tweet of a bird seemed like it could interrupt him. You decided to join him and you sat next to him and copied his pose. Legs crossed, head level, and hands gently in her lap. You closed her eyes and imagined you were somewhere else. Espio opened one eye and noticed you there. He chuckled, startling you from your attempt at meditation. Need some rest too? I can teach you to meditate.
Well, yeah, I'm very new to this. I'm trying to figure out my best way
He
to...
chuckled again as you stuttered. He still didn't open his other eye. You just gotta sit still, deep breaths in and out, clear your mind, focus. You're doing a fine job so far. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Alright.
He kept his eyes closed, returning to his meditation. While you weren't good at keeping your mind clear and blank, you definitely felt more relaxed, at least.
Still new to this. Man. Alright, let's think.
His ear twitched slightly, and he chuckled again. He could tell you were struggling to keep your mind blank. Don't stress about it. Let your mind wander. Clear it one section at a time. Breathe, empty your mind. It takes time to master. As time continued to pass by, you felt yourself beginning to relax more. Not nearly as much as Espio. That would probably take a lot of practice, but you did feel better at least. As you continued to focus, you heard a bird's song in the distance. The tweeting of a blackbird.
Okay, so I still haven't learned how to block stuff out yet.
He opened one eye again and chuckled. You're doing fine. We can't block everything out. It takes time to learn not to hear the birds or the passing cars. You'll get there eventually. It took me over 4 years to master it.
4 years? Wow. That's impressive.
He smiled, and he still kept his eye closed as he spoke. Thank you. I've been practicing since I was a small child. Took practice, a lot of practice. I'm still nowhere near as good as my sensei, but I do what I can.
So, even you have a... I didn't think that someone like you, being as skilled as you are, would even have one.
He chuckled. At this, Dusen dias. Tilana too. Sloan. He could tell what you were thinking. Just because I'm skilled and trained myself, it doesn't mean that I can't have a sensei. Everyone has a sensei. They may not be a master at what they teach, but they will teach you and show you the way.
I mean, I'm no ninja, but you're not the only ninja I've ever met in my life. But you seem pretty skilled to me compared to some of the ninjas I've met.
He smiled, a look of appreciation on his face. I try. Though if you compare me to someone like Shadow, I wouldn't even be considered as a shinobi.
I don't see Shadow as a ninja, to be honest with you. No, he's more of an assassin to me.
He hummed in agreement. He couldn't really argue with that. The ninja and the assassin were similar, but at the same time completely different. I can agree with that. Though, you'd have to keep that opinion to yourself. Otherwise, you'd probably get a chaos spear through the heart.
Have you forgotten that I have his chaos powers and Sonic's speed? So, and it took both of them to fuse to beat me, so...
He chuckled. You had a point. But there were things both of them had that you didn't. Speed was a big one. Both of them were much faster than you. I suppose they did fuse to beat you. You make a fair point. Even so, you can't deny that they are both very skilled. I'm sure you won't disagree with that.
Right. I mean, I'm still trying myself to get strong enough to beat them, though. I want my revenge against them.
He nodded. He understood wanting revenge in a way. If someone ever put the agency and his friends in danger, then he'd seek revenge as well. I can understand that. I'd want revenge too if someone hurt my team. I guess you're pretty, how do I put this, dedicated to your goal. I'm sure you'll get your revenge one day.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, yes, I'm not as evil as I once was, but still.
He tilted his head slightly, curious. He opened one eye and gave you a questioning look. What do you mean, not as evil as you once were? His tone wasn't judging, but rather just curious as he inquired what you meant by that.
Well, when I first arrived, I was pretty much evil and stuff like that, but I've been on a journey since then after losing to Sonic and Shadow to find out why.
And he nodded slightly. Though you've been on your own journey of self-discovery, so to speak. He sounded interested, curious as to why you were on this journey of yours. Why were you seeking to get better and get stronger? 10. He wanted to know. Giza. 2.
Well, not just revenge against Sonic and Shadow, but
But
to
what? He leaned forward a bit, intrigued by what you were trying to say. He looked at you, wondering what else would drive you to train, other than revenge and getting stronger.
protect what matters, like my friends. That's what I learned on my journey, is that friendship friendship my friends are my power. I and the bonds that you make are are stronger
He
than
nodded,
fighting
letting
alone.
you say your whole though. His ear flicked, listening to it. He smiled, a soft chuckle escaping his mouth. I see. Protecting your friends and those important to you, that's something worth fighting for. I can respect that. And you've realized that friendship is worth fighting for, hmm? He smiled, a look of understanding and respect. He nodded, agreeing with you completely. I have seen how strong the bond of trust, friendship, and loyalty can be. You're right. The bonds of friendship and love are stronger than anything else. They can drive you better than anything else.
Yeah, that's why I I decided, you know what? I'm gonna keep fighting.
Hmm. And you're determined to do whatever it takes? Even put your own life on the line?
Yeah, even if I have to face gods, even if I have to sacrifice myself, I will do whatever it takes to
He
fulfill
nodded
my
again.
mission.
Determination was a powerful thing, a powerful emotion. Espio himself was a bit of a stubborn person as well. You'll do whatever it takes then. You have the determination, and you won't let anything get in your way of protecting those you care about. Hmm?
Yeah, that that's right. I mean, I've met quite a few people on my journey who share the same goal, but unfortunately, they're in different universes, so so unfortunately, I'm on my own on this one.
He hummed, listening to you speak. He knew how that felt in a way. Could never compare to being in a different universe. But he did understand being apart from teammates for long periods of time. He was just currently lucky he was with his. So you're on your own in your journey, huh? It's just you against everything that gets in your way and all that. Sounds a bit risky.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I guess so. I mean, I haven't found my own team yet, but I have been parts of teams, case in point here, and also with some other people from other universes. I've met quite a few people that, you know, that I've worked with, that I was considered on being a part of a team, but then the whole, oh, they're in another universe and they can't leave their universe, that part kind of is standing in my way.
He hummed, listening to you speak. He knew how that felt in a way. Could never compare to being in a different universe. But he did understand being apart from teammates for long periods of time. He was just currently lucky he was with his. So you're on your own in your journey, huh? It's just you against everything that gets in your way and all that. Sounds a bit risky.
Yeah, that's how it is when others I have friends, but they are doing what they need to do to keep their universe safe from evil. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna have this one go a little longer. Because I don't know why that one just plain stopped.
You at least have some friends to lean on. Even if they are in a different universe, though, you're not totally alone. You have support, even if it's just words over a phone. He shifted and sat a bit straighter. He still had that same expression of understanding and respect. He understood what you were going through.
Found my own team yet. But being here is good experience. Until I do find a team of my own, I suppose also, just to let you guys know that as you saw there, we cannot recall him, because if we call him, it won't let us, because it.
The ninja's hand moved, and he tapped his chin in thought. He looked into the distance, seemingly lost in his thoughts for a moment. Then his attention returned to you, and he tilted his head. You are searching for a team, then? That's quite a difficult journey. Finding the right people who fit with you enough that you could work as a team.
Yeah.
He nodded, understanding your dilemma. He had been in a similar situation before joining the Chaotix team. That is a very valid concern of yours. You don't want to interfere with someone else's team dynamic and take them away from their current responsibilities. or bonds. He leaned forward slightly again. Have you thought about looking for people who aren't already part of another team?
Yeah, I was thinking of gadget, but not 100% sure if he even wants to be on a team. Then there is the fact that the people need to get along and not evil or and can be trusted, like you Charmy and Vector.
That's all important too. A team can't work if there isn't any trust and if everyone doesn't get along. The team will just fall apart, and of course, making sure they aren't evil is important too. You don't want any traitors or backstabbers on your team. He hummed again as he thought over what you told him. There was a lot to consider.
Yeah, I've been looking for years. Yes, there are even people from other universes, but then there is that part of them unable to leave their universe.
He leaned back again and shook his head in mild annoyance. Of course, there's always that. That's one of the worst things about finding friends and teammates from different universes. They can't stay and help all the time. It can make things difficult when searching for a stable team. He folded his arms and huffed slightly as he thought about how frustrating that could be.
How long did it take you to find Charmy back door.
He hummed in thought, his finger tapping against his chin as he tried to recall. Vector was the first one I met, and that was a little over 10 years ago now. He found me during a case. His hand moved down to rest on his knee as he continued. Charmy came along about 5 years after that. She had been looking for work when she stumbled upon our agency.
Wow. So 20 years ago. That's impressive.
He nodded. A small chuckle escaped him again. He was a bit amused by your awe of the fact he had known them for so long. Indeed. I suppose you can say I've known them for quite some time. A lot can happen in those 20 years. Many cases solved, many adventures had, a lot of chaos, and a lot of paperwork.
I can see that. I mean, I'm the one doing the paperwork since I can't go on cases yet.
He chuckled at that. A look of playful mocking crossed his face. Have they given you the hard part? Stuck you doing all the boring things and not letting you have all the fun? Typical. They did the same to me when I first joined.
So you had to do the paperwork before I showed up.
He nodded, a small smirk forming on his face. Oh yes, I had to sort through all sorts of cases before they'd let me out in the field. His hand moved up and rubbed the back of his neck as he spoke again. It was tedious work, but necessary.
Alright, we're gonna test to see if we can call him, and if we can, we'll continue, but if not, we'll continue typing, but I'll say we can't call him, because it says that we reached our limit. So, let's see. If necessary. But we're still gonna act like we're in a call. That's why I'm not doing the arrow thing like I normally would. If necessary. Yeah, I know, but at some point I'm sure I'll be out there, but at least you can say the base is a lot cleaner and more organized since I got here. Okay.
He couldn't help the loud chuckle that escaped him. He had to admit, you probably did make the office look better, huh? You're right. The place is definitely a lot more orderly. The files are in the correct order. Paperwork isn't scattered everywhere. The place is clean, and the coffee machine actually works.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys didn't get this place clean up sooner.
He shook his head, a look of amusement still on his face. He was clearly enjoying your reaction. Trust me, we tried. Vector would always mess up the files when he got bored, and Charmy would knock things over when she flew around too fast. His tail flicked slightly as he continued. It was chaos before you got here.
I can see that. Also been wondering something.
He tilted his head slightly, curious about what you were wondering. He kept his arms crossed, but otherwise remained still. What is it that you're wondering about?
Who is mighty and Ray? I found a file with their go.
His expression shifted to one of mild surprise. He clearly hadn't expected you to bring up those two names. Ah, Mighty and Ray, he hummed, looking thoughtful for a moment before continuing. They were members of the Chaotix team before Vector, Charmy, and I joined, but they left after some time. No one really knows where they went.
Are they the ones who started it? Or was that someone else? There we go.
He shook his head, leaning back slightly as he thought about it. No, they weren't the original members of the Chaotix Detective Agency. The agency was started by a few other individuals before them. His hand moved up to rub his chin again. Though I don't know exactly who those original founders were either.
And there is no trace of them. I suppose that is one mystery that will never be solved.
He let out a small sigh, nodding slightly in agreement. Seems so. The history of the Chaotix Detective Agency is quite fragmented at times. There are many cases and stories that remain unsolved or forgotten. His hand dropped back to his knee as he looked off into the distance again. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I guess you three are the youngest members, right?
He nodded, his expression a mix of amusement and mild pride. Indeed, Vector, Charmy, and I have been here the longest out of anyone currently on the team. His tail flicked slightly as he continued. Though, we weren't always just three people working together. The agency has seen its fair share of changes over time.
Has it always been in this shed house, or is this just your guys' place? Cause I'm curious on if, has this been like it, or?
He shook his head, looking over at the house as if reminiscing. He hummed for a moment, seemingly lost in thought. No, we've moved a lot over time. We've had quite a few different offices and agency buildings. He looked back to you and shrugged. A slight smirk formed on his face as he continued. This house is just the most recent one we've taken up residency in.
Oh. That makes more sense. I mean, I guess it works for you guys. I'm still not used to being in a small, no, in a place with 3 other people. There we go.
He had a look of amusement on his face, finding you struggling to adjust kinda entertaining for some reason. He chuckled lightly, a smirk on his face. Yeah, I can see why being in a house with 3 other people can be a bit difficult to get used to, especially when one of them is Charmy. His tail flicked slightly as he spoke Charmy's name, his smirk still there.
Alright, people, as much as I want to continue with SBOs, I do have to get going. So hopefully we'll be able to do this, continue on, and stuff like that. I think out of every single one that I've done so far, from episodes 1 to 6, I'm actually enjoying SBOs more, so we might continue SBOs. I might actually continue SBOs. I'm not sure if I'll do it for you guys or not, but I definitely want to continue doing SBOs, so we will see. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode of role playing with character AI. Goodbye.